Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zero Sports Nation, and we're here, guys. It's March Madness is here. We have the official bracket. It's time to go, Zach.
I know we've been waiting on this day. Today has been awesome so far. I mean, me and Will, we just been getting pumped up. We've been talking about this bracket for the last little bit, and we are so excited.
Yeah, peek behind the curtain. Zach and I just spent 2 hours in the lab grinding, talking through stuff, preparing for this video, guys. We talked about stuff. We're getting some stuff here for you guys to digest. Take from what you guys want, but with that in mind, also let's get business out of the way first. Guys, we want you to join our group that we have right now. On the ESPN Tournament Challenge app, there is a group for you guys to enter your own brackets and compare it with the brackets that Zach and I are going to produce here, and also with the brackets that Zach and I individually pick. So the group is called Z-Dub Sports Nation, just like our YouTube channel name. Join that group, guys. We want to get as many of you possible because we want to have some fun with this.
For sure.
We're going to get the Discord going as well, probably from last year. So we'll put that link in the description as well for you guys to join with us. We want to talk college ball. It's a great time to be a college basketball fan, Zach.
It is. This bracket or this upcoming tournament is set to be one of the craziest we've had. If it's anything like this regular season which has been wild.
It's fun, guys. But with that in mind, let's the bracket show up. It's time to go. Let's talk.
Let's do it.
March Madness. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the round of 64. And let's get it going, Zach. We got the overall number one seed is the Alabama Crimson Tide. And they're taking on the winner of A&M Corpus Christi and SEMO. Who do you like?
Give me Bama. Give me Bama. They're looking tough.
Bama advances and they make it through. We got Maryland taking on West Virginia in this matchup. Maryland's a team that had an early round exit in the Big Ten tournament. Same thing for West Virginia. They won their first game against Texas Tech, and then they lost to Kansas in the Big 12 tournament. Who do you like?
This one was tough because it's one of those 8-9s where they are so similar. But we give the edge just ever so slightly to West Virginia here. Down the stretch, West Virginia's looked really good. Maryland's had glimpses of greatness this year too. They've had some really good wins. They beat Purdue, and they've beat Miami earlier by 18. So they have good wins. But this West Virginia team, we think they're clicking at the right time. They did go out to Kansas, but we still think this West Virginia team has enough in store for them to at least be able to get by Maryland.
For West Virginia, this country road is taking them down one win, and they advance to the round of 32 in this tournament. We got San Diego State taking on the College of Charleston. College of Charleston is a team that for basically this entire year, everyone's talked about.
Yeah, they've been well talked about, and I think they're going to be extremely trendy pick here. I really think so. They're probably going to be super trendy, especially at 31-3. They have that Virginia Tech win earlier in the year. They beat Colorado State early in the year, some decent teams. But I don't think they've faced defenders like San Diego State has on the perimeter and in the interior. Nathan Mensah in the interior, they're not going to be able to get buckets easy outside or in. And I think San Diego State's going to dictate the pace of this game. We know how San Diego State likes to play slow. Charleston likes to play fast. I think San Diego State's going to get this game. They're going to keep it slow, and they're going to frustrate College of Charleston guards. I don't think they've seen defenders like San Diego State has.
Zach and I don't always like to follow trends. So with that in mind, we're going to take San Diego State in this matchup and advance them on. We got Virginia taking on Furman, and we didn't pick an upset above, but do we have an upset here?
I think we like this one. These are the two tortoise in the hare matchups here, back to back. But we're going on the flip side on this one. Virginia also has fantastic defenders, but give me Furman in this one. The more, I think, uncommon upset out of these couple games. I think Furman, they're playing their best basketball right now. I think they've won 14 of 15, I think, something in that range. I like Furman to pull it off.
They're hot. They're playing well. But let's go down. We got Creighton taking on NC State. Zach and I were a little bit relieved when we saw NC State in. We didn't have to sweat it out with the pack this year. We were sitting there, and they're in that first region, so we were able to sit back and relax. But the instant reaction was scared.
Yeah.
This game reminds us, if you remember last year, we were Colorado State. That was our team. That was kind of the team that we rode with, and that was our hyped up team. This year, it's been NC State. Last year, Colorado State got matched up with Michigan on the first day, and it didn't go well, and it kind of soured our bracket from the start. We're not falling for that this year, Zach.
Nope, we're not. And similarly to the Michigan-Colorado State game, this Creighton team, they have, Michigan has Hunter Dickinson. Creighton has Ryan Kalkbrenner as their 5. One of the best 5s in all the nation. He's one of the best defenders in all of college basketball. NC State doesn't have a dominant big man. DJ Burns is decent, but he gets in foul trouble. I look for Kalkbrenner to take over this game, and I think it's going to be This isn't going to be easy for NC State in any regard. I think it's a bad matchup for them.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that they can maybe conjure up some greatness, but it doesn't feel like a good matchup. We think Creighton's the move here.
Wolfpack fans that follow us, we hope we're going to be praying for them, but we're not going to pick them in this matchup. Baylor taking on UCSB though, Zach. And Baylor's a team that hasn't been playing great.
No, they just got beat by Iowa State again. And Baylor has shown glimpses this year that of I would say mediocre basketball. Yeah. That's how I'll put it. They've shown that. And this Baylor team isn't going to be able to dominate UCSB down low. And the Gauchos are a team that when they get in, they've been trendy picks in the past, and they came up just short against Creighton a couple of years ago. I think, and I think you think so too, they're going to beat Baylor here, give us the first shock, and it will give us the Gauchos to beat the Baylor Bears.
The Gauchos pick up a win there. UC Santa Barbara, man. That'd be fun.
It'd be fun.
I know Zach and I would be riding hard during that game. That's going to be a game that's going to be on our TV. Kind of reminds me a little bit of our Akron UCLA game from last year that we were riding with, where we just missed on that game, if you remember it. Mm-hmm. It was close for the stretch. We just missed. This year, we're not missing with it. We're going to hit it. We're taking UCSB. We got Mizzou taking on Utah State in this matchup. Utah State's a team that Zach and I have watched quite a bit of. Mm-hmm. Who do you like in this matchup?
I do love Utah State's offense, but I don't think the offense is going to be able to take over the same as it's done in the Mountain West for them. They've scored a lot in the Mountain West. It's going to be different with a team like Missouri. Missouri has been at times mediocre with some bad, like they get blown out by Kansas, but they win in the SEC. They've won all the games they should have for the most part. And this feels like a similar territory to that. They win the games they should have. Missouri is such a great story. Dennis Gates coming in. They've done all this damage. Kobe Brown, star of their team. I think Kobe Brown goes off in this game, and I think they're going to beat Utah State.
Mizzou and the Tigers get a win here. We got Arizona taking on another Tiger, the Princeton Tigers, winning the Ivy League today over the Yale Bulldogs. What do you like?
Arizona here. They're going to be too big, too athletic, too long. It's just going to be too much for Princeton.
Mizzou taking on Arizona in this matchup. And this is a matchup we've talked about, Zach. We've flipped it a couple of times. Mm-hmm. It's been a back and forth. What's our locked in here?
We're going to go with Zona. We did debate this for a long time because we're worried, is Arizona gritty enough? And when things get tough, we're a little worried about that. But we're going to say the talent reigns supreme here because this Arizona team does have loads of talent. We're going to go with Zona. But it made us think, though, because Missouri has at times, shown the ability to win the big game. But Missouri, on the flip side, to bring up some metrics, they are one of the luckiest teams in the country, according to Ken Palm. So that's something to remember.
Numbers don't love them. But the thing with Arizona, that our hesitancy, last night they played UCLA. That should not have been close. Quite frankly, UCLA was undersized, banged up, injured, people in foul trouble, and that went down to the buzzer.
Yep.
That Arizona should have rinsed and repeated Ballo and Tabellis down low, rinse and repeat, layup, post up, just stuff like that, but they weren't.
And that's what they're going to need to do against Missouri. And that's why that's why it took us so long. We're like, if they don't rinse and repeat, get down to Ballo and Tabellis, like that this game could get close. But let's say they right their wrongs.
They listen,
and they do that.
We got Creighton now taking on UCSB. Do the Gauchos keep dancing?
No, it's over here for Creighton. Talented team, experienced. I think they're hungry. I think they got guys that almost the whole team's back from last year's tournament team almost, and they bring in Shireman. So let's go with Creighton.
San Diego State and the Aztecs taking on Furman here in this matchup, and got the Aztec shirt right behind you, Zach.
That's true.
Do we have a 5 seed make it to the 16 now?
I think we do. And the big reason for this is that will be back-to-back games that Furman would have to gut out against extremely tough defensive teams. I think that's going to be a little too much to ask from them. That would be, to beat Virginia will be tiring enough. Then you got to do it 2 days later. I don't think so.
Yeah. I'll say this. If Virginia does pull off this win and they beat Furman, I do not want to sit there and watch Virginia and San Diego State. That would be the boringest game you're going to ever see.
It'd be close, though. Race to 50.
It'd be close. It'd be a race to 40. It would not be a high-scoring game, but it would be a good game. But we'll see. Good defense for San Diego State to the 16 makes a lot of sense, if I can speak English. Alabama taking on West Virginia here. And I think the country road ends now for Alabama.
I do too.
For West Virginia.
Yeah, I think it's over for West Virginia. Just a little too much to ask for West Virginia to win this game. We, even with all the storylines revolving Bama, it hasn't seemed to bother them too much. They're still rolling. They win the SEC tournament. Give us Bama.
Look good today. Bama looked good today against A&M. They get this win. Bama now taking on San Diego State. And can the defense of San Diego State lock up the guards in the shooting of Alabama?
I think they can slow it down to make it interesting. I think they slow it down. They keep the game tight because of the way they play, and they limit possessions and things like that. I think they keep it tight, but I think in the end, the second half, Alabama can pull away from San Diego State a little too much. Brandon Miller maybe takes over this game in the second half. I like Bama.
Bama gets a win here. We got Creighton taking on Arizona in this 16 matchup. Creighton get over the hump this year and make it to the Elite Eight, or does Zona gut one out here?
I think they're going to gut one out. We actually saw this matchup in the Maui earlier in the year, and it was a fantastic game. 81-79, Zona wins. We're going to say Zona wins in similar fashion. They can both score a lot, and it would be a heck of a game. But here's the deal. Creighton has they have no depth. There's no depth on this Creighton team. It's really just the starting five is all you get. So if you run into any type of foul trouble, Kalkbrenner gets in foul trouble. Zona has two great bigs, Ballo and Tubelis, whereas Creighton just has Kalkbrenner as the only, dominant big on that team. And so any type of foul trouble, you run into a risk of losing with Creighton. So give me Zona.
Zona gets a win. We got Zona taking on Bama for a spot to go to Houston and go to the Final Four. Who gets it?
Give me Alabama, but it's going to be close. I think Alabama, they need to hit their threes this game. They can't have a 6 for 37 game and expect to win. But as long as they're hitting their threes, I think Alabama's going to get by.
Alabama gets in, and they're going to go to the Final Four. Now, guys, we're going to switch it up a little bit from our usual videos. We're going to follow the order of the seeds. So we're going to go here over to Houston as the second number 1 overall seed. There's something special brewing in the bottom half of the bracket. We want to save that for you guys in a little bit. But we got Houston here taking on Northern Kentucky in this matchup. Who do you like, Zach?
Give me Houston. Hopefully Sasser will be healthy for Houston. That's still up in the air. We should find out soon enough. But Houston, with or without Sasser, gets by there.
Iowa taking on Auburn in this matchup in a good game. It's a game that they loved on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were talking. A lot of people were talking highly of this one. And it will be interesting because it is polarizing play styles. Auburn has a really good defense. Iowa has a really good offense. And so it's going to be exciting. We think Auburn's just going to gut this one out just ever so slightly. Yeah. It's a tough one to call, but we're leaning Auburn here because Auburn has been one of the unluckiest teams in the country. Mm-hmm. They've lost a ton of close games against really good teams. So give me Auburn.
Great grinder effort for the Auburn Tigers gets a win here.
Mm-hmm.
Miami taking on Drake in another 5-12 matchup that's going to be trendy. A lot of people are going to like the Drake Bulldogs. You're already seeing it on ESPN. The spread was listed as 2.5 right now. Questions are surrounding the big man from Miami, his health. Do we have another 5-12 upset right now?
It's one that we've looked at a lot in our bracketologies and one that's been conflicting for us. But we rode with Miami last year, and we think even without Norchad Omier being healthy, and hopefully he is healthy, I think they can do just enough in what's going to be could be one of the greatest 5-12 matchups in this tournament. And there's a ton of them. But give us Miami, and that's due to the excellent guard play they have. They have 3 guards they can go to score the ball. Isaiah Wong, first-team All-ACC guy. Jordan Miller, fantastic. He's a 6'8" wing. That's tough to guard. And then you have Nigel Pack transferring from Kansas State, and he can be terrific sometimes. So go with Miami here, but Drake is an experienced group that definitely could pull it off.
On the bottom half of this quad here, we got Indiana taking on Kent State. Kent State's a team, Zach. Early in this year, they hung with some teams. Yes. They scared some teams. They scared Houston. They scared Gonzaga. What else did they do?
They barely lost to College of Charleston. I think it was one other big-time team they barely lost to as well. Yeah. I'm forgetting it. But they barely lose to Houston. They barely lose to Gonzaga. They're tough. And we think they get over the hump here. This is the time they're going to pull off an upset against Indiana. What they need to do is they are a little undersized, but this Kent State team shows a lot of moxie. They show a lot of toughness. And as long as they bring that toughness to the tournament, which I think they will, they're an experienced group, they can hopefully with that toughness shut down Trace Jackson Davis, even though they'll be a little undersized. Our
second 13/4 upset comes as the Kent State boys upset the Indiana Hoosiers.
Love to see it.
We got Iowa State taking on the winner of Mississippi State and Pitt. But first, let's start Mississippi State and Pitt. Who wins?
Well, the slight lean is Mississippi State right now, and that's just the type of they play such good defense. Mm-hmm. And I think in that first round game where there's going to be so much attention, players are going to be nervous. I think defense travels in those types of games because the shots probably aren't going to be falling for either team. So I ride with the defense there. Give me Mississippi State over Pitt. And then what will be another race to 50, maybe a race to 60 in this Mississippi State-Iowa State game. We like Mississippi State to pull off the upset. Every year, besides 1 year since the play-in game was introduced in 2011, the 11 seed or one of the play-in teams has won the first round. So look for that to happen again this year and look for that to be Mississippi State.
Mississippi State and the Bulldogs get a win here. Xavier taking on Kennesaw State. We got a fan from Kennesaw State on our channel here, Zach.
That's true. That's true. Congratulations. But this is a tough draw. It's a tough draw. Xavier is a really talented team. I've liked Xavier all year long. I don't think I can go against them now. I think they're tough. Make it to the Big East championship game. They come up short, but give it Xavier.
As long as they don't wear those weird jerseys, I'm happy with it. Their retro logo looks very weird, also, to say the least. So keep those jerseys away from them, and they might win a game here. Texas A&M taking on Penn State. Penn State's a team that got hot. You know what they remind me of?
Who?
Iowa from last year. Trendy pick.
It is. There probably will be a trendy pick. And the thing to remember about this Penn State team is their 5 wins that they rattled off in a row. They were all 1 or 2 possession games.
Yeah.
They got hot at the right time. We do think this Penn State team is talented, led by Jalen Pickett, one of the best guards in the nation. However, is it just a product of them getting hot at the right time? Whereas Texas A&M has shown all throughout SEC play that they're legitimate. So I think give me Texas A&M for that reason. And plus, you're talking about a guy in Wade Taylor who gets to the line almost more than anybody else. And that's so important in March. You get other people in foul trouble, as well as you're scoring points in Wade Taylor. And Wade Taylor and Tyrese Radford, they're winning guards. I really like the way they play. They're winners. Give me Texas A&M over Penn State, but that will be a good game, though.
Gigamags as they they hold fort and they beat Penn State. Texas and the Horns taking on Colgate here in this matchup. You called this the best 15 seed.
Colgate is the best 15. They are the best 15 out of all these 15s. They could maybe keep this close for a bit.
Yeah.
For a little bit. Not long, I don't think. I think Texas overwhelms them eventually. Texas is a solid group of veterans. Give me Texas in this one.
Back-to-back years, we've seen a 15 upset of 2. I don't think it's happened 3 years ago.
I don't either. It doesn't 3 in a row. It feels unlikely.
So we got Texas taking on Texas A&M in a battle of Texas.
Big time matchup.
What do you like?
Give me Texas ever so slightly. I think Texas has the experience across the table that you want to see in March. And this Texas team, they're clicking at the right time. We've talked about in our bracketologies, and Will likes to talk about this a lot, and I agree. The way they banded together, has been impressive after the Chris Beard thing. A lot of teams they crumble in that situation. They banded together, and I think we like Texas, and we like them to get by.
You know, Texas impressed me this weekend, Zach. They impressed me with their win over Kansas. They had something going. Just back-to-back wins over Kansas, back-to-back weeks. They look good. The Horns look good. Dangerous team in March. Keep an eye out for them. Foreshadowing. Let's keep it going. Mississippi State taking on Xavier in this matchup. And does the 11 seed make it to the 16? Or do you like the Musketeers?
I'm going to say Musketeers here. The offense of the Musketeers is impressive. And they've defensively gotten better ever since Fremantle got hurt. He's a big loss to have because he's such a good scoring big, averages 16 points, 9 rebounds. But since he got hurt, Jerome Hunter, their 6th man, steps in. He's a much better defender. Their defensive numbers have been climbing. They've gotten way better defensively. And we know how good their offense is. Give me Xavier.
Xavier gets a win. We got Miami taking on Kent State now in this matchup. And do we keep going?
Cinderella.
Give
it to us. Kent State, we told you about how they can hang. They're going to do it again. They're tough. I think they're ready. Kent State's ready for this.
Kent State gets a win. They hang, like we said, and they're going to fight. They're going to get over this hump. Let's get it going.
Cinderella.
We got Houston taking on Auburn in this matchup, and Tigers keep it close.
I think they're going to keep it close. I do think they're going to keep it close because they do play good defense, but what I don't trust is Auburn's guards. You know, if you've seen us before, you know I don't trust their guards. And in an important game like this against Houston, you can't make mistakes against Houston if you want to expect to win the game, especially if Houston's at full strength. Sasser and Shed, they're good on-ball defenders. I think they hang for a while, but Houston is going to get it done in the end.
Cougars get a win. Houston taking on Kent State. Now, we saw this matchup earlier this year.
We did.
4-point game?
Yeah, 5-point game.
5-point game.
49-44 is a low scoring affair. Sincere Carey, the leading scorer for Kent State, only shot 2 for 22 in that game.
Shot him out of it.
Shot him out of it. They might even win that game if he shoots better. But even still, we think Houston, the Cinderella run over. Houston's going to go on. The metrics love Houston. The eye test, for the most part, loves Houston as well, especially when Sasser's there. He wasn't there today, but we like Houston.
Cause for concern with Houston is this health of Sasser.
Mm-hmm.
What's it going to look like? All signs indicate that he's going to be good to go probably for
at least
not
80%.
If not the Northern Kentucky game, he'll be 80% for the Auburn game, one would think. So something to watch for. But if that gets tweaked again, right, it's a soft tissue issue, which means that it can easily get tweaked again.
Yes.
So if that happens, could be trouble for the Cougars.
Yes, if he's not ready to go, Auburn could upset. Somebody could upset them if he's not healthy. But we're going to say he's healthy enough.
Yeah, we're going to say he's good to go. Xavier taking on Texas in this matchup, and it's a game where it's kind of my team that I've been kind of riding with this year outside of my main teams, and it's Zach's team that he's been riding with outside of his main teams.
It's true.
Numbers and metrics love Texas.
Yes, and that's what it came down to for us, because like Will said, we love both these teams. We think they're both great, but the metrics support Texas a lot more. Xavier's defense is around 80th in the KenPom. They are one of the best offenses in the country. Texas is top 20 in both, which, as you guys know, that's an important metric if you want to talk about teams going to the Final Four and winning it all, is being top 20 in both. That's super important. So the metrics gave us the confidence we needed in Texas, as well as the way Texas has been playing recently.
Hook 'em Horns advance, and we set up a battle of Texas for a chance to stay in Texas and have a spot in the Final Four. Probably you can argue that whoever wins this matchup is going to have a home court advantage in the Final Four because the arena is going to be heavy in their favor. Who do you like?
Give me Texas here.
Yeah.
Give me Texas. I think as well as Houston has been, as good as they've been this year, it just feels like Texas has something. It's me and Will. Will's been on it a long time, and I kind of like the way Texas has been playing recently. I like the experienced guards. I like Marcus Carr. They have the guys that can take over a game when you need it, and it could be different guys in different games. It might be Timmy Allen one game, who should be back and healthy.
They need to get him healthy.
They need to get him healthy. It could be Marcus Carr one game. Tyrese Hunter can get hot, and I love the way they defend in the backcourt as well.
And
that's huge.
Dessou can put up some numbers sometimes too.
Yeah. You never know with Texas, and I think that's what's exciting is the fact that, okay, let's say 2 guys are off, maybe 3 guys are on, and that's enough to get it done. And so,
and he still got Serge Jabari Rice coming off that bench.
Yeah, and now he's been in the starting lineup, which has been really good recently. I don't know if they're going to keep him in the starting lineup. Yeah,
with Timmy Allen coming back in might change.
He probably goes to the 6th man again, and he is the best 6th man probably in the country. So that's a good point. You got it, Serge Jabari. He's really good. They give us Texas in the Final Four.
Hook 'em Horns all the way to the Final Four now, and we are going to stick with our pattern here. Go to the 3rd #1 overall seed, and that is the Jayhawks out of Kansas, the defending national champions. Their trial and their struggle to defend the title really starts now, Zach.
It does, and it's going to get exciting. I'm glad they start out, with the 116 versus Howard. They need McCullough back.
Yep.
McCullough's been dealing with back spasms, and that he is their best perimeter defender. You need McCullough back. But in this matchup, they'll get it done.
No, the Howard Bisons are
they're elite.
They're elite. They're coming back in. No, I don't think so. I think this is a game where it's a chance for them to get McCullough some work. We'll also give him some rest. Hopefully his back feels better and set him up for that 32 game against either Illinois or Arkansas. And who's he going to be, Illinois or Arkansas?
This was tough because Illinois and Kansas are my teams if you haven't seen us before. So it was tough for me. This is a battle of teams that haven't delivered on their potential. Mm-hmm. They're both extremely talented teams. They both have underperformed, no doubt. But we think Arkansas has a little more potential in them, and they've done this in March more lately. Give us Arkansas. It's going to be close, though. This is one of the most exciting 8-9 games.
For sure. Mark Titus today called this matchup the battle of what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
What if they stayed healthy? What if they lived up to their potential? Both these fan bases, probably at the end of the year, more likely than not, are going to be sitting here saying, what if?
Yeah.
What if we did a little better? But Arkansas sends Illinois home first to say what if, and let the Chris Beard Illinois train start now. No, he's looking like he's going to go to Ole Miss probably, but I've been joking with Zach that he's going to Illinois. We got St. Mary's taking on VCU in this 5-12 matchup, and here's our 5-12 matchup we like, Zach.
We do. We like it a lot. It's the battle of white guys versus the battle of athletes. And if you've seen VCU play, they are athletic they are super athletic. The metrics love St. Mary's though. The metrics do love St. Mary's, but the eye test tells us VCU is going to win this game. VCU has been really good, and the A10 is down this year, but you can't discredit a 15-3 conference record as well as win over Pitt earlier in the year as well. VCU, I think, they're underrated. Really, yeah. They're underseeded. Honestly, I could even see them being 11 or 10. They didn't have really an at-large case compared because they didn't have any quad one wins, but they're really good. I think we like them to get by St. Mary's.
VCU,
fairly confident.
VCU defeats Team Australia.
Yeah, pretty much.
St. Mary's, and they advance. We got UConn taking on Iona in New York. This is a matchup. I think Seth Davis talking on the selection show, he loved it. This matchup in New York, how much the people in the Garden are going to be, or Albany are going to be loving it. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere in that arena. Who do you like?
It is going to be fun, and Iona might be able to keep it close because they're coached by one of the legends, Rick Pitino. But give us UConn. Iona isn't going to be able to hang with 3 good bigs that UConn has. They bring Klingon off the bench, Sanogo. I think it's just too many weapons for UConn. So let's go with the Huskies.
Huskies going to win, and Dan Hurley fights his way into the round of 32. We got TCU taking on Arizona State or Nevada. Nevada was the shocker of the night, Zach. That was the team that I think Zach and I both, it took us a second to realize, wait, Nevada?
Yeah.
Nevada got in. They took that tough loss to San Jose State that we thought ended their season.
Mm-hmm.
I think many within college basketball thought that. And you could argue that even the Wolfpack fan base kind of thought that.
Probably.
But here they are in a first 4 game. They're going to be going to Dayton. Who do you like?
I like Arizona State to beat Nevada because they've had a really bad last 2 weeks. They're on an epic collapse, and like you said, we thought they were out of it.
Yeah,
I really did. They've been collapsing hard. They're not playing their best basketball. Arizona State has had some big wins. They've had some losses, a couple losses, but they've had big wins. And I think Arizona State does enough. But either way, whoever wins it, give me TCU in that one. We love TCU. We love what they bring to the table. Mike Miles is such a good point guard. We're confident in that one.
The Fighting Froghorns, I think, as Clark Kellogg called them today.
Yeah.
They get a win here and they advance. We got the Gonzaga Bulldogs taking on Grand Canyon. I'm repping Gonzaga for this video. Shout out Rocket with this video, man.
That's right.
My dad's a big Gonzaga fan, and Zags get this one. Hey,
this is a 3-14 that we're feeling good with. I think the Zags are playing good basketball, and they're coming into this tournament not being talked about as much. But give us the Zags in this one.
Zags keep going. Northwestern taking on Boise State in this matchup of teams that Northwestern's got 1 tournament win and 1 tournament appearance. Boise State's 0-8 in the first round. They're looking for their first tournament win. What do we like here?
Yeah, that's the thing that was so tricky because neither of these teams have had any success in the tournament. So we have to go off just what we see this year. And both teams play really good defense.
Yeah.
They're similar in how good they play defense. Their offenses are both not very good, but I think we're leaning towards Boise State overcoming the 0-8 record, getting their first win in March. This Boise State team, they are tough. They're a tough team, and give us that one in a close one, though. Give us Boise State, but it's going to be close.
Scrappy matchup. Boise State takes it. Schaefer's going to have to do some stuff, and Rice is going to have to do some stuff.
Yeah, they will.
UCLA taking on UNC Asheville. UCLA impressed us last night, Zach.
Yes, for how undermanned they were. They had Bona out and they have Clark out for the rest of the year. Bona will be back for the tourney.
And foul trouble.
And then the foul trouble they faced and the fact that they almost won that game, that was a gritty effort. That was really impressive. It really was. Give us UCLA here. I think they still got 2 guys from their Final Four team a couple of years ago, Tiger Campbell, Jaime Jaquez. This UCLA team, they're tough. They're coached by a tough guy too, Mick Cronin. He kind of I don't really like him much, but he's a tough coach.
Yeah.
Give us UCLA here.
Keep the ball away from McLennan behind the arc, and UCLA can win.
Good point.
UCLA taking on Boise State in this matchup of Western teams, kind of. Mm-hmm. What do you like?
I like UCLA. Boise State's going to get their 1 win, and that's going to be great for them, and I'll be happy for them, happy for their fan base. But UCLA, clearly the better team. They play elite level defense. Give me UCLA.
UCLA moves on. We got Gonzaga taking on TCU in this matchup, and this will be a good game, Zach.
Good one. We like Gonzaga here because we like them in the next round, kind of foreshadowing that, but we like them in the next round. So it made us kind of go towards Gonzaga. They're playing great basketball here, and what's to like about Gonzaga in a matchup like this is Strawther has really emerged as a second scoring option this year to Timmy. I think he's the wild card play in a matchup like that. And so I'm going to say give us Gonzaga.
Gonzaga gets a win and they advance on to the next round. We got VCU taking on UConn in this matchup. And what do we like?
I think it's going to come to an end here. And like we said, VCU's got athletes. They got athletes galore. But what UConn has is dominant bigs. Klingon coming off the bench. He's impressive. So give us UConn. It could be close for a bit, but I just think UConn has too much weapons.
UConn gets a win. We got Kansas and Arkansas. Zach, this game makes me sick to my stomach. I saw this bracket. I saw everything line up, and I did not feel good for Kansas instantly.
No, because Arkansas is one of the most talented 8 seeds you're ever going to find. They have NBA players on that roster. You have 2 first-round picks and Nick Smith and Anthony Black on this team. We debated it for a while. We heavily debated this game. I'll tell you that. We heavily debated it. What gave us the confidence was the experience of Kansas. We know how experience wins games in March. Arkansas doesn't have the level of experience that Kansas does. They have Devo Davis, but outside of him, they don't have a ton of experience. Ricky Council does as well. But with all that said, we gave the edge to Kansas because of the experience they have. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a game, and it'll be a fun one.
I think this one of the other surprises of the show was seeing Kansas getting that third one. A lot of people thought they were going to get that one or the second one and get the Midwest region playing in Kansas City, which would have been huge. That would have been, when I say that would have been a game changer, it possibly could have been a 5 or 10 point swing in Kansas's favor, just putting that game in Kansas City.
Yes, it was a bit, we were shocked. We were definitely shocked by that. And America definitely was too.
For sure. We got UConn now taking on Kansas in this matchup. And I just think this is not the matchup Kansas needs.
It's not. Kansas doesn't have great bigs this year. They don't have a David McCormick this year. They have a KJ Adams who's 6'7" playing center. They have Uday coming off the bench. He hasn't been fantastic this year. He doesn't even get many minutes. This isn't a good matchup for Kansas at all. It's a bad matchup for him. And we haven't seen a title winner go past the Sweet 16 since Florida did it in 2007. 2007, which is crazy. And look for that trend to continue. Bad matchup for Kansas.
I like UConn 10+.
Possibly. It could get to that
UConn
point.
10+. I feel comfortable kind of saying that. It's just not a good matchup for Kansas.
No.
It could very easily get ugly in that game.
Mm-hmm.
We got Gonzaga taking on UCLA, and we mentioned it a little foreshadowing earlier. We like the Zags. You know what? One reason why. Next week, I mentioned my dad's a Gonzaga fan. Next week's his birthday, next Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Possibly an early birthday gift for Rocket. They're going to get another win here. Early and late birthday gift for Rocket. They're getting a win here.
Yeah, I would like to see it. And it feels, if UCLA is fully healthy, we're looking at this differently.
Yeah.
They're not. Jalen Clark's done. Bona is banged up. Look for Timmy to do some work on the inside in this game. Look for him to take over. And for Rocket, give us the Zags.
The Zags keep going through here. We got UConn taking on Gonzaga in this matchup, a 3-4 to get a spot in Houston and become the third team punching their ticket to Houston. Great basketball game, Zach.
It's good.
Great basketball game. Can Gonzaga go back to a third Final Four in the last 7 years? What do we like?
We're going to say no. We're going to say no, and it comes down to, well, it comes down to a couple of things. The metrics definitely support UConn. They are like the third or fourth best team in the KenPom. But also, this Gonzaga team hasn't been super consistent at times. They've lost some games they normally don't lose. They're going to be good. They're going to make this game close. But it just feels like UConn in this region makes so much sense to give us UConn.
UConn prevails, and they advance and punch their ticket. Let's go over to the East. Let's start with Purdue. They're the 4th #1 seed. They're going to take on the winner of Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson University. FDU, a team that didn't even win their conference tournament.
That's
true. Who do we like?
Antiquated rule that hopefully gets fixed. Give us Purdue. Give us Purdue.
We got this one. Memphis taking on FAU. FAU, kind of the darling team that of all the mid-major school conference tournament winners, they're the sneaky team right now.
They are the 31-3, and they are tough. They are tough. But Memphis is tough, and Memphis is incredibly underseeded. This Memphis team is as good as a 5 seed at least. That's how good they are. The metrics support that. the eye test definitely supports that. They almost beat Houston without Kendrick Davis earlier in the year. They beat them today with Kendrick Davis. And they didn't have Sasser, so Houston got to feel what that was like. But this Memphis team is tough. And so give us Memphis, I think.
America's gonna learn the name Kendrick Davis
Yes.
this month. I think that is kind of what we talk. It kind of feels like it could be a Kemba Walker kind of thing.
That's the vibe. That's the vibe. That's what me and Will keep saying. Kendrick Davis kind of reminds us of a Kemba Walker type player.
So we got Memphis prevailing over FAU. We got Duke taking on Oral Roberts in this 5-12 matchup. Oral Roberts is going to be another trendy pick for that 12. The 12s are going to be trendy this year.
Because all these 5-12 matchups are so intriguing. It's unreal. But I think we went with Duke ultimately.
Yeah.
We like the way Duke's playing. Connor Vanover for Oral Roberts, he's 7'5", but he's not going to be as physical as a guy like Filipowski will be down low. And Oral Roberts will be trendy, but Oral Roberts, they've had 4 opportunities to beat a quad 1 team. They came up short in all of them. I think they're going to come up just so short again. Yeah. I think they'll keep it close, but give us Duke in this one.
Duke's playing good ball. Unfortunately, I kind of like Duke this year, Zach.
Yeah, they're coming on at the right time.
Yeah.
They win the ACC championship, and they have a lot of freshmen. So, freshmen take a while, and John Shire should really have proven himself as a great coach.
That hurt me to say that I like a little bit, but let's keep moving. We got Tennessee taking on Louisiana and the Raging Cajuns in this matchup. Tennessee's a team that's banged up without their starting point guard. He's going to be done for the year. A lot of people are going to want to pick Louisiana.
They are, and we've already been seeing that it's trendy, and I just think they're wrong. I think Louisiana, I saw them play against South Alabama in that game, and I actually saw them play back-to-back games, Louisiana, in their tournament. I'm not impressed by them, to be honest. And what's going to be tricky for a team like Louisiana against a team like Tennessee is just the length and the length that they offer on the perimeter. They're so long and athletic, this Tennessee team is. Louisiana, I don't think is going to have the athletes to match up against it. They're without their point guard, but give me Tennessee in this one. I think that's going to be a popular pick, but I don't see it.
Vols get a win. We got Kentucky taking on Providence. Kentucky sitting at a 6 seed, taking on Ed Cooley and the Friars. Providence is a team that slid to an 11.
Yes, they almost found themselves out of the tournament after just not that long ago being pretty solid. They're not playing their best basketball right now. Kentucky's been, up and down. They had a bad stretch, then a great stretch, then they're kind of steadied off. But me and Will, we both like Kentucky to win this one. It could be close. And the matchup between Bryce Hopkins down low and Sheway will be super fascinating. But I think we like Kentucky here.
Wildcats get a win. We got another Wildcats with the Kansas State Wildcats taking on the Bobcats of Montana State.
Mm-hmm.
What's up?
Kansas State's a great storyline. They've done a heck of a job in their first year at Tang. We've seen Montana State play a couple of times, just watching the Big Sky late at night, because that's always like a late night tournament. And I don't think they're going to pull off an upset. I don't think so. K-State, they're solid. They're not great at any one thing, but they're solid. That's what you can say. They're consistent. And they do have one of the best point guards in the country in Noel, 5'8" point guard. Let's go with the Wildcats here.
Kansas State gets a win. We got Michigan State taking on USC in this matchup. Sparty could be a good pick here.
They could, because we like their guards. Me and Will, we're big fans of Tyson Walker. He is one of our favorite point guards. He shows an ability sometimes to just straight up take over a game. And that's what you want to see in March, is that ability. And he's led by a good other guard in AJ Hogard, who does a good job of controlling the pace of a game. And that's really important in March, to control the pace of a game and not let it get out of control. So give us Sparty here.
Yeah.
It's a team that has consistently, not always, they've been upset in the past, like the Middle Tennessee State, but they consistently have had good success in March.
Izzo and the Spartans move on. Marquette taking on the Catamounts of Vermont in this matchup. And the Fighting Shaka Smarts move on.
Yeah, and now that I kind of forgot about, Vermont is also a good 15, as well as Colgate is. That's a good 15, but Marquette, led by arguably the best point guard in the country, is going to find a way to get by.
And now the fun begins. We said we had some chaos for you guys coming up. Get ready for it. Here we go. We got the first matchup. We got Michigan State taking on Marquette in the 7-2 matchup. Zach, who do you like?
We debated this one. We definitely did. We went back and forth. But we came down to, we like the overall guards for Michigan State. And Marquette, they've had a heck of a year, but maybe they're too hot. They're maybe just too hot at this time. We like Michigan State to pull off the upset here and to start the chaos.
Upset number 1 in the books. Upset number 2, possibly Kentucky. Battle of the Wildcats, Kentucky, Kansas State. Who gets it?
Kentucky. And this was just a matchup issue for us. It came down to matchups. And just briefly to get into it, Marquise Noel, he's a 5'8" point guard. He averages 17 a game. But you know who Kentucky has to guard him? 6'4" Cason Wallace. And that's going to be tough for Marquise Noel to get to his spots, to do what he needs to do. Now, I get that he goes against taller guards often, but Cason Wallace is a really good on-ball defender. And with Tshiebwe down low, buckets aren't going to be easy to come by inside. Give us Kentucky.
Kentucky moves on to the second weekend here. We got Duke taking on Tennessee in a matchup Zach and I have sat and debated. And honestly, this could go either way when I ask Zach, because I don't know what way he's ultimately going to decide. We've talked about this. Numbers say that an ACC team is probably going to move on to the Sweet 16. Is that what we're sticking with?
We're sticking with it. We went over this one a lot. Will knows. I was like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? But ultimately, Duke's playing really good basketball right now. And in March, when guard play is so important, not to have your starting point guard, it's tough to go with that. And Duke has a couple of good, especially Jeremy Roach. He's I tell Will, he is one of my favorite guards to watch. He's solid every game. He's going to come up clutch in March. And I think he's going to be maybe the biggest reason why Duke gets by Tennessee.
Duke picks up a win. And now we got Purdue taking on the Memphis Tigers. What's up, Zach?
We talked about how they're underseeded. This team is better than an 8 seed. I think if you guys have watched Memphis, if you've watched us in the past, you know we've liked Memphis for quite some time now. Going back to our first bracketology of the year, we had Memphis in the Final Four. They've been a team we've loved to watch because of a couple reasons. They're led by Kendrick Davis, who we said is Kemba-esque in some ways. Yeah. And they also have DeAndre Williams down low. As long as they're able to slow Edey down enough, I think the guards in Memphis are better. And they just got to slow him down enough. Give us Memphis.
Kendrick, Kemba Walker, Davis leads this team to a victory. The Tigers prevail, and the Fighting Penny Hardaways set up a matchup with John Shire and the Duke Blue Devils. What's up?
It's a good game. It's a fascinating one. And we're getting into a little bit of chaos here, and that's what we're going to see in this region. And give us Memphis here. We talked about this Kemba Walker-esque run. I think it's going to continue. The Magic stays hot into this weekend.
Memphis gets a win. Kentucky taking on Michigan State in this matchup. It's a battle of power brands here. The two brands that got left out of the party last year when we went and saw power brands go to the Final Four. Who's in this one?
I think Kentucky's going to do it. Michigan State doesn't have great bigs. And that's their weakness. They have good guard play. They don't have good bigs. Look for Tshiebwe just to take over a game like this. Give us the Wildcats.
And now we got another cat matchup. We got Kentucky taking on the Memphis Tigers. I wish we had Bill Walton here to do his cat hissing.
Oh, that
from
last night.
From last night in the Arizona UCLA match. Bill Walton was on one last night, man.
Dude, Dave Pasch and him were going into it. If you guys watched that, you're probably like, wow, it was funny though.
It was good. But let's get back to ball. We got this. It's our crazy region, the region of chaos. Memphis, Kentucky. One of these big seeds is going to get into this Final Four and complete the party. Who is it?
Memphis. We've kind of foreshadowed it. It's going to be Memphis. They're the team of destiny.
They're Miami this year. And it's going to be tough for them maybe to stop Tshiebwe because they don't have necessarily like a dominant big. But Dandridge, he's a thick boy. He's strong. And they also have a guy who's only averaging 10 minutes a game, but he gets nearly 2 blocks a game. I think he's less than a Higio or something. I don't know what's up with him exactly, but he's averaging 2 blocks a game. So if there is foul trouble, you at least have him to rely on as a third big man that can maybe shut down Tshiebwe. Memphis gets it. They advance all the way to Houston. We got our Final Four set up. It's Alabama and Memphis. It's Texas and UConn fighting it out in NRG Stadium in Houston. Let's start. You pick, Zach. Who do you want to start with?
Let's do Bama Memphis because this is a rematch of a game we saw earlier this year. And Bama only won by 3. I don't know if you guys remember that game. It was a good one. And I think it proves to how good Memphis has been the whole year. It's not like it's a fluke. It's not like this is, they got hot at the right time. Memphis has been solid this whole year. They almost beat Bama in that game. And sadly, we think they're going to come up just short again. It's going to be ever so slightly because we thought about it for a second. We're like, Bama, a little too talented probably. But what a run it would be by Memphis.
What a run. What a fun time. Kendrick Davis's name would be understood by many households in America.
Yes.
He's going to get his name on the radar, that fifth-year senior. And let's move across the bracket. We got Texas, UConn. The Horns are a team I've loved this year. UConn's a team I love this year. These are both teams. Did I have UConn in my Final Four at the start of the year?
I think
I did. I think
either UConn or Creighton. You had a Big East.
I had one of the two. I know I was high on UConn. I definitely had Texas in my Final Four at the start of the year, and they have impressed nonetheless.
Yes, they've been steady. They've been steady throughout. And that's what gives me more confidence. UConn has been on a roller coaster this year. They had the great beginning. They were phenomenal. They looked unbeatable for a little bit early in the year. Then they had this stretch where they start the Big East. They fell off. Then they've been coming back up. They've been rising back up. They lose in the Big East tournament, but they don't take too much stock into that. But still, we're going with the steadier team, the team that has been proven to be winners this whole year, the Longhorns.
This arena would be fully orange.
Yes.
It's a football stadium full of orange here.
Yes.
UT would show out for this game.
It'd probably be an 80-20 game because UConn has a lot of fans because they're in the New York area.
Yeah.
But Texas, just because of the close proximity, would get, like Will said, it would be heavily favoring
Rich
Texas.
alums, ton of them from that university. Texas gets a win. And now we got it. It's Alabama. It's Texas. Not on the football field, but on the hardwood. Setting up a national championship matchup. Texas should have beat out Alabama on the football field this year, you could argue. Their quarterback got hurt in that game. This one, on the hardwood, what are we pulling, Zach?
We're pulling Texas. And it's going to hopefully come down to Alabama missing some three. Alabama sometimes goes cold from three. In a championship game where nerves come.
Shooting in a dome.
We know that's tough. A 3-point shooting team in a dome. I don't want that. Give me Texas.
The Horns. Hook them. Hook them, Zach.
Let's go.
Hook them Horns all the way to the national championship. They're cutting the nets down in Houston. Give me a score.
Let's go with be a medium scoring game. Let's go 75-70.
75-70. The Texas Longhorns are your 2023 national champions.
Oh,
we're going to come back. We'll do that later.
There we go. Look at them cutting down the nets.
There it is, guys. There it is. The Texas Longhorns are your national champions. Everyone, it's March. We're here. We're less than a week away from the games really getting going. Tuesday night, or what?
Yeah, Tuesday night we see Mississippi State and Pitt, and then 2 of the 16.
Yeah.
Don't remember which one, but
it's basketball's here. We're here. It's time. Buckle up, guys. Get ready. We're gonna have videos coming out for you all week. We're gonna talk about upset picks that we like, sneaky teams that could make a run. We just saw Memphis do it.
Yep.
Who knows? But guys, we talked about it in the start of our video. We have a bracket challenge going right now. Get on the ESPN Tournament Challenge app. Join our group. It is our YouTube channel name, ZW Sports Nation. Look that group up on the Tournament Challenge and fill out your own bracket. Compare it to our bracket. Zach and I are also going to fill out some individual brackets. Some different things are going to happen in it, probably, but we'll see. But guys, this is what's happening. ZW Sports Nation has locked it in. They got the ZW Sports Nation guarantee. The Texas Longhorns are your winners this year, guys.
I love it.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Zach and I had some fun making it. We prepared this video for you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Definitely comment who you guys are feeling. Who's sneaky this year, honestly. We're going to have some more videos on that, like Will said. Like, subscribe, all of that. Let's get to it. It's going to be exciting.
Guys. Enjoy. Take care. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.